In this video, we're going to discuss how Google Finance, PubMed, the Sunshine Act can lead to more studies, jobs, physicians, and overall clinical research opportunities.
Hey Guru Nation, welcome back to theclinicaltrialsguru.com. This is a video. This one's going to be for YouTube. So I've got Darshan. Yesterday we did a half an hour interview. Go to the Random Musings from the Clinical Trials Guru podcast on iTunes or on Stitcher. Check it out. We're going to talk BizDev, one of my favorite topics. My favorite topic, not one of, my absolute favorite topic to discuss. Business development. Darshan introduced another great strategy yesterday, and I'm going to make him the presenter of this presentation. And I'm going to do that right now, Darshan. And for those like two people watching that don't know who you are, can you let them know?
Hey guys, this is Darshan. I am an attorney. I'm a pharmacist. Thank you. So I'm an attorney. I'm a pharmacist. I'm a teacher. I write books all around the pharmaceutical and life sciences industries, whether it's compounding pharmacy, whether it's clinical trials, whether it's advertising and how it connects to clinical trials, all kinds of stuff associated with the life sciences industry and healthcare. So if you guys have questions, comments, concerns, call me, reach out to me, and I want to talk pharmaceuticals with you. I want to talk medical devices with you. And by the way, guess what, Dan? The FDA just announced this. They're starting a whole digital health unit, which means, and this is off the presses, like came out in the last hour. And so your Fitbits of the world are now going to have to start worrying about things because they may need to do more studies. They may need pre-market approval. So look out for Google, look out for Apple doing more studies now. When you and I spoke yesterday, you were super excited about Edgar. And Edgar's my friend, and I like Edgar, and that's all well and good. But Edgar's a giant pain in the butt because you have to go through so much to try to find out information that you can use. Like you said, there's so much legalese, there's so much like CYA stuff in there covering their butts, and that's all well and good, but sometimes you just need information. So how do you get that information is the question that I had going on in the back of my mind. And then I saw your presentation yesterday that you did on your own based on the conversation we had, and I was like, Dan, why are you doing this so sort of in such a difficult way? And then I said, well, wait a second. I never told Dan a faster way of achieving the same goals. So it's my fault. So I needed to fix that. And that's why I called you at midnight last night and I said, Dan, we need to do a follow-up. And that's where we are today. So Dan, we need to do a follow-up.
Good. So I was doing it the long way, right? How was I doing it the long way, Darshan?
So the long way was I was taking you to Edgar, and you were then looking at the 8K statement and the 10K statement, and then trying to find out, is there anything relevant in the 8K statement? Is there anything relevant in the 10K statement, in the 10Q statement? And that's all well and good. Take a look at this. Finance.google.com.
Google Doc. Yeah, I've looked at Google Finance before, but I wasn't sure what you were asking me yesterday.
So let's take a look. So yesterday, we looked at Pain Therapeutics, right?
Yeah, we did.
So let's look at Pain Therapeutics.
Okay.
It brings up with the stock prices, which is great. But one of the things you told me that you're trying to do all the time is try to find out who the important players are. That's right here. Here's the chief medical director. Here's the vice president of regulatory affairs. Here are the different regulatory people on there. That's the CEO. That information is right here. So if you're looking for that, it's right here.
Okay.
The next thing you were looking for is who are the competitor companies. Here you go. So if you're trying to go, you know what, I need you intern, find me 10 companies who are in the pain space or who are the same size.
Oh, okay.
Instead of having the person go find information, it's all right here. And they can start looking at research right from this spot.
Gotcha. Yeah, because my recommendation to my interns is going to be look at these 10 I want you to find 10 companies in this therapeutic indication, and then I want you to go through the reports and figure out where we can approach them and from which angle.
Instead of going that way, you can just go to Google Finance and it'll tell you here are 10 companies. So and it'll get you more details. So let's say I clicked on Pain Therapeutics. Let's do that one first. And with Pain Therapeutics, here's a brief summary. Biopharmaceutical focuses on nervous systems such as chronic pain. So you know that it's not just pain, which is what I thought it was, but it's general disorders of the nervous system. Their big drug is Romoxi, which we talked about yesterday. It also has Fenrock, and their unintended uses. Great. Let's see what the comparator companies are. Collegium. I clicked on the second one, and Collegium is another used to turn products that uses DeterRx platform for treatment of chronic pain and diseases, and these are the products it's working on. And here's the other interesting thing. Here is events that are happening that are relevant right now. So if you want to just call up during the PR portion, that'll be there as well. You may also want to look at the news, which is one of the things you are interested in. That tells you how their clinical trials are doing, because if their clinical trial is doing really well, I would expect that the stock price keeps going up. But that's not what we're watching, right? So
Right.
that could be interesting as well.
And if the clinical trial are going very well, they're probably not going to be interested in more sites coming on board. So you actually want the clinical trials that are not going that well, because that gives opportunity for the sites to get added on to the studies.
Potentially.
So bad news is actually good news for the research sites in some cases.
So what I wanted to point out to you is, instead of looking at the 10Q and the 10Ks and try to find information on there, the Google Finance is a faster way of getting all of that information in one spot.
So the point of what we're doing is we're looking for news. We're looking to see if we as a research site, we as a CRA or an independent consultant or a CRO can approach these companies, and from what angle and with what specifics. You know, essentially you're looking for problems and you're turning them into opportunities and solutions for these companies.
Thank you, Dan. You speak their language a lot better than I do, so I'm glad you're sort of guiding the conversation. Feel free to do that. What I was trying to point out was just, instead of us sifting through the 10K and 10Q statements, this is just going to be faster. And you can find news if you need a lot faster if you're looking at it this way than if you went to Edgar. Now, Edgar will give you detailed information. I'm sorry?
Yeah, through just Google Finance, or if you prefer Yahoo Finance. I mean, you'll get the same things there. Yep.
You'll get the same exact thing. So there are a bunch of groups there. So that was one tool I want to talk about. Another tool, and I'm sure there are other ways to do this as well, but what I did want to talk about is, have you guys heard of PubMed?
PubMed, yeah, I actually have heard of PubMed. That's where trial results are published, right?
So that's clinicaltrials.gov, but then you've got your actual write-ups of those, and that'll be PubMed. And so you might get studies that were not put into clinicaltrials.gov, because, as we all know, not all studies are published on clinicaltrials.gov as much as we want them to be.
Even though they're supposed to, right?
Exactly. So what you can do is you can start looking at certain disease states. So let's say pain, for example. And again, I'm doing all of this live, but I want to just point out what the opportunities are. And maybe there's a way of looking at, we can customize this, and we can look for, in the last 5 years, what articles were published. And we might be able to find, say, a specific physician, and then compare that physician and find out what studies is he doing. And then based on that, that gives you more opportunities and looking at other study opportunities that you might look at.
So in a nutshell, PubMed, they're going to be talking about, these are peer-reviewed articles, right?
Yep.
And they're talking about the trial results.
Correct.
And this is useful because if there are positive results in a phase 2 study, you can expect the phase 3 study to roll out soon.
That is correct. That is exactly what I'm talking about. So those are things that we should probably be thinking about as well. And the last thing I was going to mention was the Sunshine Act database. We've talked about the Sunshine Act numerous times, and you guys have dealt with it numerous times. But
We hate the Sunshine Act around here.
But have you looked at how to leverage that information?
No,
What
so maybe we could love it now.
maybe, hopefully, right?
Yeah, because it's been used against sites to negotiate budgets in favor of the CROs,
Right.
which is not the intended use for the Sunshine Act.
It may or may not be, but they are using it like that. So how do we use it? So one of the things I was going to talk about was, why don't we look at what physicians are sort of being paid, which companies. So if you are a drug company and you're paying a physician, then what you can then look up the physician and then see which drug companies are paying them, because then that tells you that drug company is doing studies with that physician, because you can tell why he's getting paid.
I was gonna say Dr. Oz. Let's put him on there.
Let's look at Dr. Oz just for argument's sake, but I doubt he's doing clinical trials. What's his first name? Mahmoud?
Yeah, Mahmoud, something like that.
But he's getting paid over $1 million in 3 different transactions. Well over $1 million. That's interesting. I didn't know that. And you can look at details. So he's basically being paid by Covidien and by Abbott. Let's look at someone else. Who was the other one? Sanjay Gupta. Assume it's this guy. I have no idea. Oh, isn't he a neurologist? No, he's a neurosurgeon or something, right? I'm gonna guess this guy. Yeah. Emory. Wow, he's getting no money. Oh, wow, that's really low.
Atlanta.
He's got only $30.
Yeah, so someone brought him a Quiznos lunch and
apparently.
Yeah.
Let's see if this Sanjay Gupta did any better. No. But he got research funding. Okay, let's see what this looks like. So Sanofi paid, what is that, $2 billion? No, $2 million.
$2 million, yeah. Where do I sign up, Darshan?
And 2014. So 2016 data is coming out still. It still has to be reported, but the 2015 data is in. They're just compiling it, and that'll come out soon. But the point is, maybe you can start using this data in other ways. So you can search by physician, by teaching hospital, and by company making the payments. So what I want to do is introduce these new tools so that when you're doing biz dev, and one of the things I've learned from you, Dan, is if I give you a tool, you'll find a way of using it for your advantage. So I just wanted to bring it to your attention, and then you can decide what's the best way to use it for yourself.
Right. The open payments, I guess you can apply that to, well, how would you discover new doctors, right? Or I guess you'd click on companies making payments and figure out from there, like reverse engineering.
Let's try that. Pfizer, let's see what they have. So we've got 14 companies called Pfizer. Okay, that's fine. Wow, Pfizer paid a nice chunk of change, right? It tells you who's getting paid that money. Okay, so then I can click, for whatever reason, I can click on Anne Leslie Sexton. She got paid $410,000.
Research Triangle Park.
And let's see why she got that money.
So for the sites, remind us again why they would want to do this particular.
So the idea that I had was twofold. Number one, the site may be able to use their physicians potentially for consulting fees. So that's one angle, because apparently Pfizer's paying a lot of money for consulting. But a second angle is we might be able to find someone like this, and she is not getting any research payments or any research associated funding. But if we find physicians who are, we can then look at those physicians and see which company's paying them. And if we know which company's paying them, we know which studies are sort of working through. And if you get a study, if you get a company that's sort of in the early stages, you might be able to start looking at those companies more often. Because a lot of times it's just building up that funnel, knowing which companies are looking for studies. It's knowing which doctors are involved. So if you find a doctor who is in your therapeutic area and he's involved, you can see who's paying him, because that means that they might be able to pay you as well.
Gotcha.
So that's my thought process. So you can use that to find and build that funnel. You can go to openpaymentsdata.cms.gov. You could go to PubMed, and you could go to Edgar, but through Edgar, instead of Edgar, you could look at Google Finance as well, or Yahoo Finance.
Right.
And those are the 3 new tools I just want to tell you guys about.
Now, can sites use this open payments platform to recruit physicians?
Why not? Absolutely.
But you'd
'Cause
have
we
to
know
know
that
their
one of the
name,
problems,
right?
right?
You'd have to
Sorry?
know the doctor's name, though. You couldn't just search
Why is
random.
that? Sure, you could. So, let's say you have what's a name a let's pick Pfizer, because we seem to be picking on Pfizer. We did the search for Pfizer and we found out that they've paid so much money. We can now say that I want more information on payments, and I want only payments towards research,
Wow.
and I want only for physicians. Well, in this case, they're not giving us that. So let's say 2014. So they haven't split it up. Let's say non-covered recipients. So now I know that these different places are getting payments. And it tells you how Pfizer's been paying them, how much money they've been paying them for research, which is not data you guys had before. And it tells you what they're paying for. So in these cases, it's all for the study drug, which means that they're doing investigator-initiated studies.
So then if you're a CRO or someone looking to, let's say you want to become a study coordinator,
Right.
You look in your area, can you look like geographically in your own region?
Let's see.
Like, let's say I'm here in Irvine, California. So let's say
So here's what I can split by. Filter by entity name, payments made on, after, or before. Payment is greater than. I don't know whether or not it's disputed. And you can do your own research where you can say by zip code. You can search for physician by zip code, specialty. So name a specialty. Let's say pain.
Let's do psychiatry.
Psychiatry. Neurology, psychiatry. And give me a zip code.
92614.
It tells me that there are 4 physicians who meet that criteria. And this is their address. Well,
Yep. I may or may not know all of these people.
There you go. So you can find more physicians this way.
Yep. You see that address there? That's where I currently am. Literally, I'm just in Suite B instead of Suite A. But yeah, I know all these people. Interesting. Okay. So it's a good biz dev tool for looking for physicians. Super interesting, because I know a lot of sites that are looking for specialists. And sometimes it's hard to just put a Craigslist ad out there for specialists. But if you go to openpaymentsdata.cms.gov, you can find those people. You can also Google a specialist in a certain zip code. But here I feel like you'll find more, and it's more relevant to you. Maybe you can sort it or filter it by who makes a certain amount of money or who's already doing.
More importantly, who's actually doing research.
Yeah, who's doing research. But sometimes you don't want those ones because if they're already doing research, they're probably not gonna want to work with you.
Maybe, but that also tells you to eliminate that, right? So then you can get a list of all the physicians doing that work. Then you have a list of people doing the research, and you then cross those names out. So you're not wasting your time with them.
This is cool stuff. I didn't realize you can snoop in on so many people.
Happy to help.
Yeah, thanks there, Sean. Anything else?
No, I thought these were the 3 new tools to talk about, and let's see where that takes us. And if we find more, if I think of more, we'll do another talk like this.
Sounds very good. Thank you, everyone. Hopefully you guys find something useful out of one of these 3 strategies, and combine it with the strategies we talked about yesterday, and then just clinicaltrials.gov in general, as I've been pounding that message or that theme for the last 7 years. So, yeah, thank you, Darshan.
Thanks, guys.
It's Dan and Darshan from the clinicaltrialsguru.com. Take care.